Let me tell you something. There are moments in sports that are simply unforgettable. They are seared into your memory, etched into the very fabric of the game. Now, when you talk about Jason Williams, one play immediately comes to mind. It wasn't a dunk. It wasn't a game winner. It was something far more audacious, far more spectacular. It was the elbow pass. Picture this: the 2000 NBA Rookie Challenge. A meaningless game, some would say. But Jason Williams didn't know the meaning of a meaningless game. He saw a canvas. He was ready to paint a masterpiece. He was a maestro conducting an orchestra of chaos. We were lucky to be in the building to witness it. He came streaking down the court, a blur of white and purple. He looked one way, faked a pass, and then, bam! The ball vanished. It reappeared off his elbow, right into the hands of a trailing Raef LaFrentz. An easy score. The crowd erupted. Pure disbelief, pure joy. Coaches on the sideline, jaws on the floor, seasoned veterans shaking their heads, smiling. This wasn't just a pass, it was a statement, a declaration that a new kind of player had arrived in the NBA. This single moment encapsulated everything Jason Williams was about. He was pure, unadulterated entertainment. He was streetball wrapped in an NBA uniform. He was white chocolate. The nickname stuck because it was perfect. It spoke to his style, his flair, his flavor on the court. Now you have to understand where this man came from. This wasn't some blue-chip prospect from a basketball factory. Jason Williams hailed from Bell, West Virginia, a small town, a place where the coal mines cast longer shadows than any skyscraper. He wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He was born with a basketball in his hands. His father was a state trooper. His father was a coach. He instilled a relentless work ethic in his son from a very young age. This wasn't about fame or fortune back then. It was about a pure, unadulterated love for the game, practiced in old gymnasiums and on cracked pavement courts where the only audience was the echo of a dribbling ball. His legend began to grow not in the polished arenas, but on the blacktop. He was a local phenomenon, a kid who could do things with a basketball that defied logic. He developed his signature handle, his flashy passing, not for the cameras, but as a means of survival in pickup games. When he got to the NBA, it was like a supernova. The Sacramento Kings were, for a time, the greatest show on court. Jason Williams was the ringmaster. The passes, the dribbling, the sheer audacity, it was exhilarating. Chris Webber, Vlade Divac, Peja Stojakovic turned the Kings into a must-watch team, selling out arenas at home, selling out arenas on the road. People were coming to see him, coming for the highlights. But here's the thing about playing on the edge. Sometimes you fall off. The flashy passes sometimes turned into costly turnovers. The high-risk, high-reward style didn't always pay off, especially in crucial moments. He's too reckless. He can't win. He's just a street baller. The same media and fans who celebrate your genius one minute will vilify you for it the next. The pressure began to mount. He was struggling to find the balance between being white chocolate and being the steady point guard his team needed to win a championship. This was the moment where his career could have gone one of two ways. He could have doubled down and flamed out, or quit under the weight. He was no longer just the exciting rookie. He was the flawed point guard holding a talented team back. Something had to give. And then it happened. The trade. That trade was a gut punch. Not just to Jason Williams, but to the entire city of Sacramento. The Kings had become his team. He put them on the map. They decided to move on. They traded him to the Memphis Grizzlies for Mike Bibby. Mike Bibby was a fine player, a very good, steady, traditional point guard. The organization was saying, "You are not good enough to win with. Your style is a liability." They trade you for your polar opposite. Cold, calculated business. He went from a perennial playoff contender to a struggling, bottom-feeding Memphis Grizzlies team, a professional exile. For many, that is a career death sentence. This is where most stories end. But that is not Jason Williams' story. What happened in Memphis was not an ending. It was a rebirth. In the quiet, in the shadows, away from the glaring lights of TNT and ESPN, he began the most important work of his career. The move meant to prove his critics right became the thing that saved him. the catalyst for a profound transformation. Now, down in Memphis, something remarkable happened. Under the guidance of a legendary coach, Hubie Brown, Jason Williams began to change. He began to evolve. Hubie Brown is old school, a taskmaster. He doesn't care about highlights. He cares about winning possessions. He cares about efficiency. He saw genius and raw, untamed talent that needed to be harnessed. He challenged him. He pushed him to see the game differently, not just spectacular moments. A 48-minute chess match where every move matters. The transformation wasn't overnight. It was a process. Learn to make the simple play instead of the spectacular one. Understanding game management. Valuing the basketball. Cutting down on high-risk passes. He started to rein it in. Not completely. You could never take white chocolate out of him. But he learned to pick his spots. The flair was still there, but it became a tool in his toolbox, not the only tool he had. Becoming a complete point guard, blending unbelievable creativity with control and responsibility. He started to lead. He proved he could win and lead a team to the postseason, silencing critics. Not with flashy passes, but with wins. Then came the call from Pat Riley. Pat Riley does not suffer fools. He is about one thing and one thing only: winning championships. He was building a team around a young Dwyane Wade and a dominant Shaquille O'Neal, and he needed a point guard. Not a sideshow. A floor general who could manage the game, hit open shots, and not turn the ball over. He needed the Memphis version of Jason Williams, and that call was validation. It was a sign that he had finally arrived. The season was the culmination of his journey, surrounded by veterans, Hall of Famers. He wasn't the star attraction anymore. He was a crucial cog in a championship machine. Facilitate, run the offense, hit the open three-pointer, play solid defense. And he did it flawlessly. A steady hand on the wheel. In the NBA Finals, he was magnificent. People remember D-Wade, and rightly so, but Jason Williams was instrumental. He averaged over 12 points and nearly 5 assists. He hit big shot after big shot. In the decisive Game 6, he was cool, he was calm, he was collected. He was everything his critics once said he could never be. He was a champion. Watching him hoist that Larry O'Brien trophy, it was redemption. It proved you could have style and still win at the highest level. After the championship, Jason Williams' career continued for a few more years. But that moment in Miami was the pinnacle. He had reached the mountaintop. He walked away without a press conference or farewell tour. He did it quietly, on his own terms, a family man, content. His legacy was secure, far more complex than a reel of passes, a powerful lesson in perseverance, staying true to who you are, while having the humility to grow and adapt. He never lost his creativity. He learned to control it, to use it as a weapon for winning. He faced public criticism, the sting of being traded, the crushing weight of doubt. Instead, he got to work. He listened. He learned. He came back stronger, smarter, victorious. The mark of a true professional, a true winner. Today, when you watch young players in the league, the Trae Youngs, the LaMelo Balls, you see the no-look passes, the behind-the-back dribbles, the pure joy and creativity he brought to the forefront. He helped pave the way to express themselves. More than one way to play the point. He made it cool to be creative. His impact is woven into the DNA of modern basketball. It's simple. Never let anyone tell you that your style is wrong. Never let the critics define you.